Tusikubali kutenganishwa na siasa, tujirushe kwa mashimo, miaka 5, miaka 10, tuishi tukiregret kama watu wa Mount Kenya.
I listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to Paris, that we are likely to default in debt payment. That is irresponsible statement.
The Mbadi I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi, those are things that would have been on your fingertips.
Nasikia Sifuna anaongea na nguvu. Wakati unaongea mambo yangu Sifuna, ujue mimi ndio mwanzilishi wa ODM. So naenda polepole kidogo.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi ndio Sifuna.
I think William Ruto is actually unfit for the position of President of the Republic of Kenya.
Bring politics into the military. And for your information, hiyo Ruto must go, si kusema ati atolewe ofisi kinyume ya sheria. No. Watu is a clarion call in preparation for the general election. Ruto atatolewa kikatiba na uchaguzi wa 2027.
Watu walikuwa wamezoea kugawanya, sisi hatugawanyiki, sisi tutakaa wote pamoja. Na tupatiane heshima. Tuna kama jamii, sisi ni neighbors, tujue vile tunaweza kuishi wote pamoja.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk Open Forum Political Discussion Show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot is happening so fast, and therefore every one of us must work hard to stay on the cutting edge in ensuring that we keep abreast of every item that is of importance as far as the governance of our country is concerned, and of course fulfilling our duty as responsible citizen in having a stake in what's going on, correct what is wrong, forge for what is valid and just for each and every one of our citizens, and then of course holding the administration to account. Now, we have all been shocked by the developments in Migori, where William Ruto had gone for interdenominational prayers in the morning, and in the afternoon decided to have meet the people tour or something, address the public gathering, and somebody couldn't take it anymore and decided to hold a shoe at him that almost hit him until his security details came to his cover. Now, this is happening in a time not so good in the country, when there is sharp political developments that are not sitting so well in the country holding together, and the shaky administration of William Ruto seem not to be having a grip on the next move of the country as it ought to be the case. And so while this is going on, it's shocking. Well, also a great important lesson to be taken, especially by the presidential security details personnel. This ought not to be taking place, not when we have so much in terms of political assassinations taking place. Don't forget, it's 3-4 days ago when a sitting member of parliament was assassinated in Nairobi, and we are yet to unravel what went down. And so when the shoes begin to fly and they are flying towards the head of state, and then it leaves a lot to be desired. Well, I want to salute every one of you for making time to join us in the discussion. I need to hear what is your opinion in all these as we dive into what is cooking in our land as well as the neighboring countries. Don't forget the African Revolution led by Traore seems to be catching up with all the other countries of Africa against what the West would desire. And that's also something that we need to consider. But back home here, Wamnyoro played host again for the coalition of those referring to themselves as opposition, and that is Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, and now Fred Matiang'i. And they had a message to Kenyans. Will also be diving deep into what went down in Wamnyoro, and of course, what is the message by Matiang'i, by Martha Karua, and what should Kenyans be expecting even as this plays along. While that's going on, the assassination of the Kasipul member of parliament seems to be causing a wedge between this MOU of ODM and UDA. And it appears the center is not holding from the signals that we can read by various people raising their concerns about the situation. Could it be that this assassination was a blunder if it was carried out from where the suspicion is coming from? And if that is the case, is there a way out of this? And well, as we are always of course, ensuring that we analyze our politics as accurate as possible, we want to keep everything close and ensure that we don't just, become a sensational kind of analyst. We want to get facts right. So I want to thank everyone who is joining. Please, let's be on the forefront to invite each other. And then, of course, I expect as many as possible to join into the discourse as we look at these various stories. And apologies, we couldn't come on yesterday. There is something not so well with the internet provision in the country. I think there is somebody meddling with it. And so we have not been able to get the required speed to keep the broadcast stable and able to run without hitches. And so at times the speed gets so low that we can't do anything, can't even chat. So when we miss out, it's not our intention. At times we have what is beyond our control. And until we get to the bottom of the same, tunaomba tuelewanwe na tuvumiliane angalau tukajifunze kwa pamoja. Esther Stoll, good evening to you. Thank you for making it. Dahi Abdi, karibu kwa show. Asante sana. Omar Said, welcome to the show. Press J, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. And of course, as we start the conversation, karibisha mtu, share link widely. We are live on Sound Candy Talk Live YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk Facebook page, Sound Candy Talk TikTok. And we are also anticipating to ensure that everyone is able to get us. So confirm if you are getting us and whether you can get us loud and clear, or their hitches will be able to fix as we proceed. So asante sana. Let's start with that big story of the shoe flying in Migori over the head of one William Ruto. What is cooking in the country? Is this it or what? And then, of course, the 2025 finance bill is also developing into a huge issue that we cannot ignore. So we'll be also revisiting the same. So let's look at what went down in Migori and how do we deal with this in terms of, the president and his security details, and why would this be taking place at this point in time? Thank you so much. Let's look at the story. Let me see. I seem not to be getting the story. Just give me a minute as we go further with the broadcast. Okay, welcome back ladies and gentlemen. Asante sana. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike, watu wa TikTok, likes ziko wapi? Tujitahidi tafadhali, na karibisha mtu share live ili tukajifunze kwa pamoja. Let's start with that Migori story and then of course break it down. Na kama unaingia studio, link nimeweka kwa comment section, click on it, allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera as well as the audio, and then of course you will be in this space for us to talk. And then tuambie unatupata ukiwa wapi, where are you watching us from, and are you able to get us, ama kuna maswala ambayo tungependa kuyashughulikia ili utupate kwa njia iliyo mwafaka. Asante sana kwa kila mmoja anayejiunga nasi. Tusichelewe kufika, na hakikisha kwamba wewe ndio mstari wa mbele wa kuhakikisha kwamba Sound Candy Talk inapatikana kila sehemu, na kila mmoja ambaye anapenda masuala ya siasa na uchambuzi wake anapatikana. Let's listen to this whatever shocking story from Migori.
Now in Migori County, a shocking moment unfolded as a shoe was hurled at President William Ruto during a public address in Kehancha, Migori County, narrowly missing his head. An unidentified person hurled the shoe toward the head of state. As security personnel moved in to cover him. The incident, captured in the viral 5-second video, has sparked debate over public dissent and presidential security. There has been no official statement regarding the incident, viewed as a serious security lapse. Well, that amateur.
Well, mambo kama hayo kutoka Migori, kiatu kikatembea hapo. Haya, nani analeta ango ingine kwa hili? Ningependa tuliangalie pia kwa hiyo ango. Huyu ni Press J anasema that is not an assassination attempt. Ruto is so desperate for sympathy. Wewe unaonaje, ni stage managed ama ndio hivyo Wakenya wamechoka? Hebu toa maoni yako mahala popote ulipo, tumakinike kuangalia masuala haya jinsi yalivyo. Wewe unaonaje? Naomba tafadhali tuseme jinsi yalivyo. Huyo ni Press J anasema these are desperate moves by William Ruto trying to seek public sympathy. Do you think that is the case? Let us also know if you think so. And why would he be looking for public sympathy from Migori? Bwana Press J. Why Migori specifically? As in, Migori did not vote for Ruto. The majority of the people were in ODM and of course Azimio. So why would he be looking for sympathy? And then of course right now there is the assassination of the Kasipul member of parliament, the late Were, Charles Were, if I don't mix the names. So why go to Migori to look for sympathy? Hiyo ningependa munisaidie kuielewa, na sipingi lolote. Right now anything is possible, and with politicians, especially the Kenyan ones, mambo yao ni mgumu sana. Kwa hivyo lolote ama chochote kinaweza kutokea, na lolote inawezekana, haswa ikifika kwa masuala ya kujaribu kuwarai wananchi wa kuamini. So I won't rule out that Press J notion, but I would want more details on the same. But I want you to look at that setup, okay? That setup and the shoe, okay, reaching the hand of the president. You know, if that was not a shoe, okay, I need you to imagine, okay, God forbid, but if that was not a shoe, what kind of story will we be saying right now? What kind of message will we be saying? And then of course there has not been any official communication on the same. I must also throw that in. But tuangalie tu hiyo maswala usalama katika hiyo meza ya rais ama hizo mikutano rais anafanya kila sehemu. Do you think it is he is exposing himself against his security capacity? You know, being a public figure, you are arranged, you don't arrange yourself. And there are places you are denied to go by the security details, and they are, you know, how closer you can get and things like that. Now, from what I see here, we seem to have a president who is not adhering to, I think, his security details at times, because the kind of exposure that William Ruto is revealing in going, you know, place to place, holding those impromptu meetings, and those impromptu meetings in places where there has not been a thorough combing and ensuring that everything is safe and secure, to me is part of the issue. Now, I'm drawing this from the understanding of the recent happenings when he did the Nairobi tour, and we had these thugs that were robbing people right, you know, behind him, and you know, it became a security issue. So I want us to revisit that, bringing those two things together. What went down in Migori today, somebody throwing a shoe at him, and of course the people taking advantage of others, citizens, as they move together in that entourage of the president. What is cooking? Is it that Ruto is ignoring security leads, or he just wants to, he's a man of himself. He does what he wants with whom he chooses to do, and nobody should tell him anything. What is this? We need to understand more. Thank you, Mr. Guru. I see you have arrived. Let me just take this alafu nimlete Mr. Guru naye achangie. Simba Omar Said anasema si vizuri wa Kenya tuweni na heshima hata kama hatupendi. Heshima ni kujiheshimu. Kupigana kwa mdomo tutawafundisha. Sorry. Okay, inaonekana hicho Kiswahili kinanichanganya. I am a poor Kiswahili reader, although I speak it at times. But inaonekana hapa anasema kujiheshimu, tupigane kwa mdomo, tunawafundisha nini watoto wetu? Exactly. We seem to be, going beyond the required norms in terms of the kind of example we are setting for the younger ones. How we're going to demand them to respect elders and respect authority when we are violating each one of those values. I agree with you, and I think we need to apply restraint even when we don't agree. We should not, cross the boundary of losing everything just like that. Anyway, thank you everyone. As we join, tafadhali karibisha mtu, usitazame kipindi peke yako. Tuko hapa na tunakutegemea wewe kuleta wengi wakaingie na wakaseme na wakatekeleze wajibu wao kama Wakenya wazalendo. Bwana Guru, hali vipi?
Mzuri Bernard.
Yes, karibu. Iliona wa Mnyoro kulikuwa na kaambuzi.
Unajua, wewe najua ni msomi wa kanisa. Na kuna ile fasi inasema kwamba njiwe ambalo likataliwa mwishowe kaja kuwa la kona. Sasa it is I think history is being very kind to that man. Because his predicaments coincided with the frustrations of the community, and they did not have anybody with that capability of constantly pricking the enemy, the political enemy. So despite the fact that he has his serious flaws, and even within the community they know he cannot be a president, not now, not near, but he's slowly building himself, and maybe give him another 15 years. You never know. This politics is funny. He might just have to heal the wounds that he has put on Kenyans, and you never know. On that, I will just say this, and my predictions, Bernard, they normally come true. I told you there are two candidates that have been emerging in Mount Kenya. That is Fred Okengo Matiang'i and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. As for now, I can tell you without batting an eyelid that Matiang'i is way, way, way ahead of the pack. And that could itself bring a problem, which maybe people may not see it now, but as a senior politician, he might feel frightened. That is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka And we don't know what decision he will make, what political decision he might make. But then again, what alternative does he have? Now that he seems to have parted ways with ODM, he's in a quagmire. Because you see, politics in Kenya is organized in a manner in which you don't like. Bernard, I've said that, and I know, and I also don't like. But however, that is how politics is organized in Kenya. So before we retrieve that, maybe some casualties will have to be there. It's that one of the scholars just the other day said, I won't mention his name here because he has not sent me, neither do I talk for him, but he's credible in the sense that he said he visited parts of Meru and the parts of Nakuru and had quite some extensive talk with people. And what he gathered is that Matiang'i is way, way ahead of the pack. And the reason is, Bernard, Kenyans have come to know that when you are dealing with a rough character, you got to get a rough character to deal with the situation. So to use the words of that scholar, because he's a scholar, he's saying Kenyans are not looking for a leader, they are looking for a warrior. So, and because they know the person currently seated at the top is a rough political player, they want Matiang'i because Matiang'i can stare down on any opponent and will not just let people mess around with his political build-up. So that is precisely why part of the reason why Matiang'i is going way ahead, because Kenyans don't want to hazard a guess that Kaongo can come back. They want to be certain that they are dealing with somebody who will fight battles, because there will be tough battles ahead. The person at the top is not a simple person. He's been tutored in the KANU, died in wool tactics, scorched earth policy, and all manner of tactics that can make him survive, because most times politics isn't fair. But also on the other side, you need an equally uncompromising character, a person who is able to go the full hog. And that is, some people thought, in fact, he said some people thought those were the disadvantages that Matiang'i has, that he seemed to some people to be a dictator when he had power. But funny enough, those are the characteristics that Kenyans are admiring in him, that he can be able to stay a hand on his political opponent and shrug it out without any fear or favor. So for my friend and neighbor, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, again, things don't seem to be working out for him on that score. He's a good man, polite and diplomatic, but that is unfortunately not the way of Kenyan politics, unfortunately. And then he has either to swallow his pride and deputize, or look for another path up the way. And that's the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guru. That's very interesting. But I can't let you go without throwing this in. This Matiang'i, wasn't he there when Ruto came from nowhere and took away the presidency? If the lion did not pounce at that time, what makes you think that it's going to be now stronger and more powerful to snatch it from Ruto this time round? Remember, he had Uhuru, he had Kibicho, he had the everything. And Ruto came from nowhere and, you know, outplayed all of them. So this belief that Matiang'i is the man for the job, and you inviting us into another disappointment.
Far from it. Actually, it is wrong to say that the man came from nowhere. I think that is not being fair to the man from Sugoi. He's been there. He's done that and the other. So he did not come from anywhere. He just happened to have upstaged one of the kingpins of one of the blocks, and that is Uhuru Kenyatta that time. And if you minus the 47% given to this man, that fourth block, getting an alternative to that is going to be extremely difficult for him. Let him gather all that he can from wherever, but it's not going to be very easy. More so because he's not been very endearing to very many Kenyans. Unfortunately, the generation that we are having right now of young people, there is a segment of our youth who will vote on account of a personality, not tribe. And we do not know what percentage it is. It could be 20%, it could be 30% of the youth. And majority did not vote last time. So he has one of the hardest political fights in his hands. He's not endeared himself to any section or any age set because of the manner in which he has carried himself. So don't say that he has any magic. In fact, to say the truth, this was a gamer candidate, and that's why he went there for I don't know how many times. It's like the other part of Kenya did not exist. And you know it, Bernard. He used the churches in Central. He was always in every village. In fact, I doubt whether there is any rural road he did not touch in the whole of Central Kenya, because that was his preoccupation for 4 years. So what magic do you think he is now going to use? There is an argument that, oh, there is no scheming. The guy has been cornered. He just used one tactic of, he managed to package himself as a downtrodden, candidate who was being fought by the so-called dynasties. And because that is quite familiar with a rural person, they bought the lie. But now it's been exposed. He's in trouble. I don't see how he is going to compensate. Because I can tell you, Bernard, you may just look like it's a joke. Okay, I don't know whether he can really transfer all the votes that Raila had to his basket, and I'm highly doubtful about that, because there is also the youth who may just look beyond even Baba for their interests. So it's going to be a very difficult fight for him. I can assure him, with this group that has currently coalesced and having failed to define Mlima, that man will be at home at 8. And if what I hear is what is going to happen, the youth are going for a revolution type of a vote. They will be actually collecting votes from every stream, almost real time. The evening will just be confirmation. Because in some areas like our place, if we say we don't like someone, how will you justify that there were 300 votes that went to him? How? The IBC fellow will be in big trouble if they try those kind of games, because the people already know nobody is going to vote for that man. So they'll have to say where those votes are coming from. So this is going to be one of the most revolutionary vote that Kenya ever had, because our youth are now awake. They know what they want. It may not be ideal, but they will make a big statement. And one of them is that rigging must be brought to naught. Simple.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guru, and I pray and wish all that to take place.
Don't have doubts. If today, Bernard, and you know it, the youth are able to influence even international organizations against the government through constant information. You know the kind of dirt that was thrown around around the candidature of Raila Amolo Odinga when he was going for AU seat. Maybe one of the things that has never been explored really critically is how the communication from our youth affected that vote. Because you see, Bernard, unless your wife and children tell me the way you are, I may never know. Maybe our candidate was known in a different way by those leaders, but with the information provided, maybe some of the leaders saw the other side. So you never know. There are those who would have been convinced otherwise that this is not the right man.
Mr. Guru, that one is far-fetched. In terms of information being given and people deciding by reason of that information. My point is, I was saying that you keep telling me that I know how the politics of this country is arranged, and it is not the ideal situation, but that is what we have, and we must learn to work with the same. Now, I will also bring that to you in terms of, how our elections are done, and how numbers don't matter, and how people voted don't matter. If the deep state and the powers that be want a particular candidate to be the president, he will be president by hook or crook. And the kind of person we have in the seat right now, he's all that description multiplied by many times. So, just before you respond, there was a time I was in Zimbabwe, just before the elections, during the elections, I think so, when Mugabe was president. And we had the opposition strongholds, where Mugabe made sure that the ballot papers arrived at 4 and the polling station closed at 5:30. While in the other side, where he's famous and he's, popular, the voting started at 6 a.m. And so the machinery to frustrate places like you're calling about the mountain and things like that, the options are so vast in terms of ensuring that these votes are suppressed and these votes are inflated in favor of a particular candidate. So we should not box ourselves in to think that getting into the booth, voting and protecting those votes, so-called protecting those votes, is all the cure to this, our perennial problem. Remember, we have never had a president we elected from 2007, 2013, 2017, 2022.
Let me first say this. Kenya is not Zimbabwe. Bernard, what you are saying is far-fetched. Let him try that. I can tell you that the country will burn. There is no way you are going to bring votes beyond the time that has been said, and you expect there be peace. In fact, I would really fear for this country if it came to that. The kind of youth we have right now, not unless a person wants to take down the country, that one is a very risky, can be very risky game. Maybe look for something else. Lakini kusema kwamba kura zinafika saa 10 na zinafunga na masaa mawili. My friend, do you know the Kenya you are living in? And do you have Gen Zs and millennials in your home? That generation is very restless and is not in our kind of... look at what has happened today in Migori. Do you think that's an old man who did that? And I don't support it. But look at what our youth have done across the world in terms of proactivity on issues that they feel strongly about. This is not a joke, Bernard. Maybe something else, not that one. Maybe something else. Maybe, I don't know. I do not see it. No, Kenya is not Zimbabwe. That won't happen here. That one I can assure you. Take it to the bank. And if it does, then we can as well cross the country. That one I can tell you with certainty. Because you see, Bernard, we come from communities and we talk with people and we know that the extent to which they can take nonsense. You remember at the first time when we went to promote party, if you are old enough, in fact, candidates were being arraigned on their way to presenting their forms to IBC. I think we were very young politically then. Imagine if somebody tries that today, what will happen? We've made miles, Bernard. And let me tell you, the capacity of our youth to cause havoc is so immense. The bitterness and the anger is what you heard Miri Odhiambo talking about. So there are things you joke with, and there are things you cannot joke with. I think this is a generation that is more determined than us. They don't just throw their hands and move away, and you cannot even predict what their reaction will be. That's why even Kasongo was shocked that these youth had the audacity to actually, break the fence of parliament and enter into the sanctum of power and cause all havoc. He had not thought that would happen. So we are dealing with a generation that is a bit different from us. And that's why I do not agree with you that the tactics that used by Mugabe will come to apply here. No, not with the smartphones, not with the communication gadgets. It won't happen. I'm not saying that rigging cannot happen in other forms, but in raw forms, like the ones you are saying, it's not possible. Number two, rigging happens when the candidates are too close to call. That's why in 2002, even if Moi wanted to steal for Uhuru, the gap was just too big between him and Kibaki. It can't happen. So if the arrangement is such that the gap is just big enough, now the other thing is just vote stuffing, which is not also a very viable way, especially massively. Maybe you can earn to have 1 million votes without any, but when you are talking of 2-3 million votes to cover, it's not easy because there are also other candidates who are running to show a very big variance. It's not easy. Yes.
Mr. Guru, I want to be the devil's advocate, and I want to remind you, okay? We were here on this channel discussing about the 2022 elections outcome. You have the results from the whistleblower, then you have the result by Chebukati. And according to the inside information, the gap between Baba and William Ruto was 3 million. That's when they started to buy time. Instead
that's
of
right.
No.
That's propaganda. That's not true.
Ngoja kwanza, do you have the whistleblower results?
Oh, people have come to know that there has been electioneering even, okay, beyond the so-called winner. there has also been engineering of situations to inflame certain pockets of population for purposes of some people getting into power or getting part of what they want from those who have need.
Guru, I want us to make our audience also to understand what we are saying. Okay, I am not in any way calling figures just for the sake of it. I want us to look at this from the angle of the determination, okay, of somebody rigging himself into office by all means, okay, by all means, regardless of the gap. That is what has happened over and over. Whether the gap is closed or not, there was that buying of time. Instead of calling the elections on a Wednesday, it's delayed all the way, and in between, cookie things are happening. And all of it is to give an impression that this is free and fair elections when it is not. And it's not happened. It has not happened once. It has not happened twice. It has happened 3 times. And so when we are banking on the generation, I agree, we are dealing with a different generation altogether. But we should not forget the kind of mangi we are dealing with. Because when we forget that...
may I ask you a question?
Let me just finish the point. You will respond, don't worry. When we know, like, for example, everybody is, most of the people are angry with Baba because he lets go. Okay, he lets go when the thing is his and all that. He reaches a place where he says there is no need of fighting for this when it's going to destroy the country. I want you to compare the two. The personality of William Ruto and putting the interest of Kenya beyond his own interest, as compared to Baba. Okay, that mambo ikiharibika sana, wacha Kibaki achukue. Ikiharibika sana, hakuna haja kuchoma inji, let go. Can William Ruto let go? Kumbuka karibu chape mtu slap kwa kusema na let go.
Let me ask you, did Ruto win without the knowledge of Wamunyoro? Did he?
That is the question I'm asking
you. Yes, did he win without the knowledge of Wamunyoro? Whatever they could have done?
Exactly what I'm saying.
No.
With or without Wamunyoro, the architect of rigging elections, Mama Selina ametuambia hapa, yeye alikuanga kwa registrar ya KANU. Huko ndio alijifunza hizo tactics. And even the person who rigged in Uhuru allegedly, Uhuru 2013, Uhuru 2017, and himself 2022, the brain, the mastermind is Ruto himself.
Let me tell you, Bernard, I do not, I cannot sanctify such statements because some of them could be self-serving. What I'm saying is this, Wamunyoro was part of the win, quote unquote, of Ruto. Assuming they made those tactics, Wamunyoro is on the other side now. Okay? Matiang'i was himself an insider. Forget about the fact that Baba has never been really inside the whole setup. I am telling you, Bernard, 2027 will be a cake, powder cake. Take it to the bank.
Okay, hold on there. We are coming back to you later. Wacha tumkaribishe Undumani. Ladies and gentlemen, as Undumani comes in, please hakikisha you are liking the video, participating in the poll question, and then of course ensure that you don't watch the show alone. 41 people viewing. Can we get to higher numbers than those, please? Hakikisha wewe ndio ambassador wetu, unakaribisha mtu. Asante sana. Undumani, hali vipi?
Salama Bernard. Habari ya huko?
Salama, twashukuru. Karibu.
Asante.
Umetuma vijana watupie rais kiatu.
Bernard, mambo ikishinda watu imewashinda. Serikali imetushinda. Hata wakati ile serikali ya Kenyatta alipigwa na mayai. So afadhali viatu kuliko mayai ile imeosa. So ashukuru Mungu alipigwa na viatu si mayai. Ni serikali imefika watu kwa koo, Bernard. Hii si serikali ile ya tuko na matumaini. Hii ni serikali hata tunangoja uchaguzi ya 2027. Sijui itafika lini. Tunaomba usiku na mchana. Na hao watu, hii serikali kwanza iondoe boriti ndani ya jicho lao. Ndio ione kibanzi ndani ya jicho ya ndugu yao, Bernard. Kabila kidogo kama Mkisi akitaka kusimama president, mbona wanapiga kelele? Mbona wako na wasiwasi? Wasiwasi ya nini? Hata mimi naona wengine hawakunyi maji. Hii ni makabila yao imekuwa rais. So wakiweko pia kabila zingine zikuweko rais. Kwani hao ndio wanajua kutawala Kenya hii? Bernard, tuko makabila 40 na kitu. Na hii Kenya tunasema ni yetu wote. Hii Kenya ni yetu wote. Hapana ya watu wengine, hapana ya kabila mbili. So kama Matiang'i ameamua kusimama, wacha asimame. Wasimtafutie vikwazo, wasimtafutie maneno. Nani ana makosa? Hawa wanasema Matiang'i alikuwa anaua watu wanatupa River Nzoia. Na hao jenzi wameua wangapi? Wameua wangapi? Ndio hiyo hata mbunge ya Kasipul Kabondo alikufa. Nani aliua Bernard? Waondoe kwanza chafu ile iko kwa macho yao kwanza. Ndio chafu ile iko kwa macho ya ndugu yao. So wawachie Matiang'i nafasi. Mbona Wakisii wanawatisha? Ni kabila tu kidogo sasa inaanza kuwatetemesha. Ni kabila kidogo. Tunataka hata Burukenge wacha na Matiang'i. Hata ile kitu inaitwa Burukenge kisimama na President Ruto itamtoa kwa madaraka. Watu wamechoka na yeye. That's why unaona wametupa kiatu. Kiatu sasa imebaki sasa ni mavi, Bernard. Ile imebaki ni choo. Watakunia kwa karatasi na watabutupia. Kwa sababu hii ni serikali hatuna matumaini. Hata vile Odinga amekwenda huko. Sasa angalia vile wananyolewa. Vile Gladys Wanga anaongea huko Homa Bay. Wamechoka na hiyo serikali. Wako ndani hiyo serikali wamechoka. Ni hii familia ya Odinga tu. Hii familia ya Odinga ni inangangana na hii Burukenge ingine inangangana na hii serikali. Kwa sababu wanajua hii familia ya Odinga imekaa katika madaraka inataka vitu vya bure. Hakuna vitu vya bure, Bernard. Hii kura ya Wakisii imewatoka. Kura ya Wakisii imeshawatoka kitambo, hiyo wasahau. Hata hapa Western, hata hapa Busia mali mimi niko hakuna kura ya ODM hapa. Hakuna, labda wabadilike. Labda wabadilishe tabia au wabadilishe mbinu nyingine. Lakini mbinu wanatumia mbinu, Bernard. Hata afadhali vile Wakikuyu wametoka kwa serikali. Mapema. Hawa watatoka na aibu. Hawa ODM watatoka kwa hii serikali na aibu. Hii kwanza ni aibu hiyo wameshatoka nao tayari. Na baada aibu nyingine inakuja. Odinga pale amepatia watu yake kazi. Kwani wengine sio wa Kenya? Tumewaunga miaka ngapi? Tumewaunga mikono miaka ngapi? Na tuoni faida yao, Bernard. Wanaanguka uchaguzi usiku na mchana. Wanaibiwa usiku na mchana, Bernard. Sasa hii tunasema namna hii, Bernard. Hii vitu ya kusema tu wizi ya kura hii wizi ya kura hatutakubali kuibiwa kura yetu. Kama ni Matiang'i mwingine ajitokeze, kama ni Natembea huko mwingine ajitokeze. Tutaangalia tutapea nani. Lakini wasikosoe. Kwanza mimi naona huyu anaitwanga sijui nani huyu Kimani Ichung'wah anakosoa nini? Wamekaa katika uongozi miaka yote. Kwani hao ndio walizaliwa nchi hii watawale peke yake? Wawache kama Matiang'i aliua watu afadhali ile shetani tunajua kuliko ile malaika hatujui. Huyo malaika hatakuwa tumjui na ameua wangapi? Kwanza watoe chafu kwa macho yao. Ndio wachukue mkono wa point kwa Matiang'i. Na tena hao ndio walikuwa kwa hiyo serikali. Katika security, hao ndio wanakaa katika hiyo committee ya security. Hao ndio wanakaa. Vice President, President na huyo Matiang'i. So usitoe chafu ya ndugu ya usitoe chafu kwa macho ya ndugu yako, na yako ndio imejaa chafu. So toa kwa yako kwanza. So wamwachie Matiang'i, ni kabila kidogo, iombe kura. Kama watampatia. Na sisi tumeamua kwanza tutampatia. Kwa sababu tujaona yule mtu anaomba. Kwa sababu yule mtu mwenye anaomba saa hii wote kama Matiang'i aliua watu, hata yeye aliua watu. Na Matiang'i hajapigwa na kiatu. Yule amepigwa na kiatu ndio tumedharau yeye. So tunangoja huyu mwingine mwenye alikuwa anaua watu anatupa Nzoia. Afadhali Nzoia inapeleka hiyo uchafu inaenda. Kama atapatikana. Lakini kwa Kware inanukia watu. Kwa Kware inanukia watu. Hatutaki wale watu wanaua watu kwa Kware na wanaua watu na kutupa kwa Kware. Kwa Kware hiyo maji haitembei, hiyo maji iko stagnant pale. Na harufu inatoka pale. Afadhali Nzoia itateremusha Bernard. Nzoia itateremusha Bernard. So afadhali mwenye anatupa kwa Nzoia kuliko mwenye anatupa kwa kidumbi ile maji haitembei. So wawachane na Matiang'i, wao wote ni wauaji. Sasa afadhali huyu muuaji Matiang'i kuliko huyu muuaji mwingine Bernard. So afadhali ile shetani unajua kuliko ile malaika ujui. Hiyo malaika ujui itakutafuna, itakumaliza. Afadhali ile malaika ile unajua. Ile tunajua Matiang'i, afadhali hiyo itatukula, lakini itatukula zaidi vile yatatukula zaidi. Huyu anatukula zaidi. So 2027 asijibutu. Sisi wa Kenya tumerefuka, asijibutu. Kura yetu wahesabu kwa ile njia iko mzuri. Tunajua Odinga alikuwa anapita uchaguzi. Lakini yeye alilalia masikio. Lakini this time Matiang'i hawezi lalia masikio, Mkisi hawezi lalia masikio, atakuwa na yeye mundu. That's why wako worried na yeye. That's why wanakuwa na wasiwasi na Matiang'i. Wamwachie tu nafasi. Wasimtafutie vikwaso ndogo hii, na pia wawachane na Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta kama alikuwa anaua watu pia wanaua. So yeye kama ameua, aliua yake, ilikwisha. So hao wenye katika madaraka, usioni ile chafu iko kwa macho ya ndugu yako. Hao waendelee kama ni kampeni yao, wafanye kampeni yao, tuone ni nani tutachagua. Lakini kura yetu wasijibutu atu wanaiba, itakuwa amani. Si Kenya hii wengine wanakula nyama na sisi wengine tunakula nyasi. Afadhali sisi wote tukule nyasi kuliko wao wengine wakule nyama na wengine wanakula nyasi. Haitawezekana Bernard. So Kenya hii hatutakuwa ati Odinga ndiye anaibiwa kura, lakini sidhani kama Mkisi ataibiwa kura. Mkisi hawezi ibiwa kura, atakuwa nao mundu. Sasa asicheze na Matiang'i. Matiang'i pia ni mwanaume kama yeye. Ndio watapambana naye kwa debe. So wasimtafutie makosa yoyote Bernard. Wasitafutie makosa yoyote. Huyo ndio tumeona ni rais yule tunaona tunaweza kuchagua. Hapana yule wa kupigwa na kiatu. Matiang'i hajapigwa na kiatu. So tumeona hao yeye amepigwa na kiatu. Sasa Matiang'i hajapigwa na kiatu. Waachane na Matiang'i apige kampeni yake.
Subiri kidogo hapo, tunataka tunapoendelea tuna balance. Wewe inaonekana hapa unasema kila kitu ikuwe draw. Kila kitu ikuwe draw kwamba huyu aliua, huyu pia akaua, huyu aliiba, huyu pia akaiba. Kwa hivyo tusahau wezi wote ni wetu, wauaji wote ni wetu. Sisi tuendelee tu na tuchague mtu yeyote kwa sababu tunampenda. Hiyo hakuna standard fulani tunatafuta.
Standard fulani kwanza Bernard. Standard ya kwanza Bernard. Tunaangalia Matiang'i kabila ya Kisija kuwa president. Yeye amekuwa president na kabila yake kando. Hii kabila imeua, huyu ameua. Na sasa afadhali huyu Nyang'au, hii shetani tunajua. Matiang'i ni shetani tunajua, itatukula kidogo na ituache. Lakini huyu ni shetani hatujui. Hii ni shetani inatukula kutumaliza kabisa. Afadhali ile shetani inakukula nusu, inakubakisha kwa nusu. Lakini huyu mwingine mwenye amelipigwa na kiatu, huyu mtu ni wa kumaliza kabisa. Hii ni shetani ile inamaliza kabisa Bernard. Hii ni shetani inamaliza. Na tena ya pili ya tatu Bernard. Hawa ni wale wafanyi biashara. Hao ni wayesu wawili. Tuseme huyu muisi ya kwanza ni ule anaiba na kuweka. Na muisi wa pili ni ule anaiba na kusambaza kwa watu. Anaenda kununua nguo, anaenda kununua mahindi, anaenda kununua simendi, anaenda kununua mabati. Hiyo pesa inazunguka kwa watu. hiyo pesa ina circulate kwa watu. Lakini huyu ni muisi yule anaiba na kuweka kwa container, anaweka kwa container. Hii pesa isacurate, hii pesa iko tu kwa container. Muisi mgani ndio mzuri? Afadhali huyo muisi anaiba na anasambaza kuliko huyo muisi anaiba na kuweka. Anawekea nani? Anawekea nani? Aibe na kusambaza. Hata mimi Bernard nikiiba pesa hapa Busia, kila mtu atapata, kwa sababu tanunua wako simendi, tanunua wako sukari, hata tanunua wako na mama kidogo, na mle hiyo pesa itasacurate. Lakini hao bwana wanaiba na kuweka, hata wakununua mama peke yake hakuna. Kununua hata malaya kwa street hata wapati hiyo pesa bwana Bernard. Hii pesa umeweka tu kwa container. Watu hiyo pesa hata malaya apate hata malaya hiyo pesa.
Imetosha undumani wewe. Tutakutoa nguo za reverend. Leo tutakuita kwa Council of Sanhedrin. Lakini nashukuru kwa uwazi wako na kuwa kutotaka kuficha chochote. Naomba hivi tunapoendelea na mchakato, karibisha mtu, piga kura yako, alafu naomba tafadhali tusiingie ile maeneo ya nani hapa nasema undumani has become tribal.
May I say something?
I'm coming to you, Guru. Let me just balance this. Siasa zetu, we know they are tribal, but we shouldn't deliberately get into that, and then we should not also encourage tribal competition. Niliuliza hapa standard gani mnaangalia, akasema ya kwanza ni Mkisii. Hajawahi kuwa right, so the first consideration, na hapo ndio kunaharibika maneno. Mimi bado nitasimamia hapo kwamba Kenya inahitaji mtaalam, na huyu mtaalam anafaa kufika mapema kwa sababu tuko ICU, na mtu akiwa ICU alafu mnamletea watu wa jua kali wamsukume na wheelbarrow, hiyo sasa mtakuwa mnapeleka kaburini. So mimi nataka Wakenya tafadhali tufikirie sana kwa hili swala la urais, tusitumie hii anything except Ruto. Ruto is not a standard, and measuring against Ruto, you will always go below. So can't we go for the best of the best, Mr. Guru?
I think I admire the honesty of Mr. Udufai, and that is what I've been saying, Bernard. Hakuna jamii haengetaka kuwa na kijana ambaye ana attract jamii zingine, na sasa hapo ndio Wakisii wako wana kijana ambaye amechukuliwa na akapendwa zaidi na let me talk on behalf of Mulima. I think to be very certain that will be the candidate for Mulima. And even when you look at the body language between Gachagua and Uhuru, there's a done deal. And you hand the kind of defense that Wamunyoro did for Uhuru, because they want to have a unified position with a candidate. For Odufai, I would say that maybe he has just mentioned the reason why Matiang'i looks more attractive. There has been this notion that only 2 communities can produce the president, or even let's say 5, because they have big numbers. But why not try somebody from a tribe like Kisii? They also are Kenyans who can produce a leader. And I think the Mulima are now convinced about such a thing. We should celebrate, by the way, that fact that you can go to the rural areas and hear people talk of Matiang'i as the most viable leader. Somebody perhaps they have never seen directly, but they have felt his leadership when he was given an opportunity. So, Odufai, I think the one thing I may disagree with you is that of equalizing around along with another one, I have not known. Let me put it this way: when you are in government, there are things that happen because of the systems. And I believe even now you may say that even Kindiki presided over a very violent situation when he was the Minister of Internal Security. It's not about the person holding that position that time. There is what we call the Security Committee, and I believe these are decisions that are made collectively, and therefore I think it's very unfair if you are to go that direction. But what has happened with this government, the youths have actually been killed, maimed because of their political expression. I think that is the most painful thing. As for those who went to Yara River, we hear some rumors go that most of them were people who are hardcore criminals. And the government, and to contain some of the bandits in parts of our country. So, I mean, I don't advocate for that because we have systems, but you are pinpointed as a serial bandit, somebody whose the telephone is always where the cattle have been stolen. What do you expect the government to do? And you run into the bushes. So when they get you, you are liquidated. I believe that is part of what happened. I don't have the evidence, but I know one MP from that area complained that some of their people were liquidated that way. So then there are issues of, you remember when we had a lot of terrorist attacks, and some people would go to court, they get bailed, then they go and commit the same action of killing people. So Bernard, some of these decisions, I'm not in any way advocating for extrajudicial, but government do sometimes eliminate obstacles or situation that look like it could destabilize the whole state. You know, a group like the one we had in central Kenya, they tried to use all methods to assuage those boys to stop their activities, but they never did. So the government came very hard on them and eliminated that problem at that time in that way. So even as we talk about different levels of violence, we must be very careful, because some could have been done for strictly security reasons, to keep the society stable. But when you now take somebody because he's expressed himself politically with a different idea, and you liquidate that person, then that makes a whole difference. But when you go and become a serial bandit, somebody ravaging villages, looking for cattle to steal, and then the government catches up with you, there's nothing that can be done about it. So without justifying, you must look at the circumstances also. And I always ask myself, today, I have never heard of any relatives of Yara River victims coming forward to say that their son or their daughter was taken to Yara River. That silence is something that baffles. Is it that the families just did not care about them, or what happened? And like other situations, like the one of political expression, somebody will come and say, my son was in the streets demonstrating and was liquidated. So let us be open-minded. Let's not fall into propaganda path, because that's what is now being weaved around for purposes of tilting scales for some political gain for some people. Otherwise, I think we are in constant with the Oduvai, I agree with his political views that it is time even huge communities started looking for leadership from even small communities. It doesn't mean that when you have overwhelming numbers, the leadership can only come from your backyard. It's not fair. It's not even, it doesn't make the country develop. Let us try. And in any case, it's not a community that is leadership. It is a person. Therefore, we should have a way of pinpointing who is the best leader for the country, whichever community that person comes from. Asante.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guru. We appreciate that. And of course, questions continue to build up. And one of it is the aspect of the rule of law. When you are a law enforcement agent and you are prone to use the alternative path and not follow due process, isn't that a danger when you are given the all powers? And I want us to look at it from what we are currently having, because if we don't draw lessons from our history, we are bound to repeat them. We gave leadership to somebody who does not respect the constitution or the rule of law. He selects which one to respect, which one to put aside, which one to change to suit him. And we are suffering because of that. If when Matiang'i was in office and functioned outside the law, and of course, I don't even buy into that Ichung'wah's claim, because Ichung'wa hawezi kutuambia anatembea Matiang'i waliua watu wakapeleka Ribayala na yeye ndio leader wa majority na hajawapeleka kotini, hawajafungwa, hawajakuwa accused anywhere. He's only accusing them in funeral and platform. That means there is nothing there. But what I'm saying is, if the person we are giving headship has that tendency of operating outside the law, don't you think that he will have abuse of the same law when he's given that authority? And doesn't that scare you to get that, putting in consideration that we already have that example and we are suffering under the same? We are not forgetting the post-elections demonstrations and how they were dealt with. Okay, as much as there is security, can we have security within the law? Must we always be breaking the law to restore security? Mr. Guru, before we bring Uduman back.
I have given two examples on the Ribayala issue, because it came out through a politician that their people were hunted down and killed. One of the areas prone to banditry. And what comes out is that the police would pursue such people, and because it's a dangerous situation, they just liquidate them. And they have to put them somewhere to not to ilk the community. And it so happens Yara is a place. And I advise adding another argument that at least the river flows. It's not like Kwale, where you have a pool. Then there was the issue of terrorist attacks. I know there's a time the government was very aggressive looking for anybody who could have any connection with terrorists or terrorist cells, or has traveled to such countries that are prone to producing same, like Somalia, Yemen, and everywhere. And if you cannot explain very clearly what all this is about, then and there's overwhelming information about it. So I'm not justifying these things at all, but I'm trying to tell you, Bernard, each state is faced with unique circumstances sometimes. And those circumstances demand that the state exists beyond just a personal, personal right, in the sense that, assuming you are a person who has been identified as a serial bandit through maybe your mobile phone, you are always carrying your mobile phone to communicate with your fellow criminals who steal cattle. And every time your phone is found where cattle was stolen at a specific time, and whenever you run into the bush and caves. So when the government catches up with you, some of these things are about to happen, Bernard. It's unfortunate. We just mourn and move on. Right? Just to say, like that MP in Parliament, because the one or two people cannot be around to wreak havoc on a whole society of 100,000 people by moving from village to village, ravaging villages and stealing and killing. There is bound to be that situation. So, but when you have a situation where it's political expression, somebody says taxes are too high, and it's just carrying a flag and the water, and you shoot that person, that's a whole, that's a whole different ball game altogether.
I agree with you, Mr. Guru. I want us to make progress, but on the same note, I know when they say the word desperate situations call for desperate measures, but I still believe we can still handle security situation within the framework of the law and be successful at arresting the situation if we did what we are required to do. Opting for the easy way complicates things, and that is why we are having a complicated situation in the country, whereby the alternative of using of sorting matters without following due process sets a precedent. Like now what Undumani says, kama waliua pia sisi waliua, kama waliiba pia sisi tuliiba, and now it becomes a norm. Just like what Willis, the lawyer, is bringing up, that we are so much programmed that the president has to take 5 years in office until the law was changed. But nobody saw what was changed in the law. We have continued with the same thing for 2 terms, 3 terms. Okay, no. Hii tradition tunatengeneza ya kusema kama mtu anafanya hivi akuwe eliminated, it's not the right approach. Na kama we ni security wherever law enforcement officer, there are ways of dealing with the matter. These killings are just too much, and killing has now become an option. That's why when marriage is not working, kill. When you kill, it's because we have made that as a way of dealing with problems. In the past, that was not an option. Hata kama mtu amepatikana naiba, killing was not an option. Arrest the person, make him pay anyhow. Hata akifumaniwa kwa nyumba ya mtu. Okay? Kulikuwaga na njia maalum ya kudili nayo, Undumani hapa atakwambia. Lakini saa hii ukimkuta ua, ukimkuta ua, ukimkuta ua. Hiyo imetoka wapi? Sinatokana na hii.
Let's go back to Amunyoro. I think that's a better topic for us here. And the likely repercussions that are coming along for Kenyans.
Then tupatie Undumani kwanza ndio tuende kuanalyze here. Undumani.
Asante Bernard. Wakati polisi watakuwa watumishi kwa wote, inji itakuwa mzuri. Lakini hii polisi ni watumishi kwa wakubwa, hapana watumishi kwa wote. Kwa wote ndio wanapatikana Trans Nzoia, kwa wote ndio wanapatikana Kware. So polisi inatakana wakuwe watumishi kwa wote, wakiwa tajiri, akiwa masikini, huyo ni mtumishi kwa wote. Lakini saa hii serikali hii na polisi imekuwa watumishi kwa wakubwa. That's why unaona mwananchi anachukua sheria kwa mkono. Wakati mwananchi anachukua sheria kwa mkono, hao ndio wanakuwa wa kwanza kusema ya kwamba mbona raia anachukua sheria kwa mkono. Na hao hiyo sheria imekuwa ya watu wakubwa, si ya wadogo. Ni sheria ya watu wakubwa Bernard. So wakati polisi, sunaona hata jeshi saa hii imekuwa watumishi ni watumishi kwa watu wakubwa. Si hata kuchunga nchi, wanachunga wakubwa. Kwa sababu hata tukienda kwa Migingo walichukua na jeshi wako. Uganda wamekalia huko. Wakenya wakienda kuvua huko samaki wanauawa. Wanajua Wakenya wanauawa huko? Hawajui? Hawa ni watumishi kwa wakubwa, si watumishi kwa wadogo. That's why unaona mwananchi anachukua sheria kwa mkono. That's why unaona mwananchi anachukua mawe anapiga polisi. Kwa sababu gani? Polisi ni mtumishi kwa wakubwa, si kwa wadogo. Wakati polisi atakuwa mtumishi kwa wote, wote inamaanisha akiwa masikini, akiwa tajiri, inji itaenda mbele. That's why unaona inji ya Kenya hii, hata saa hii, hata koti huko kienda koti watasema ya kwamba uchaguzi hii fulani alipita. Na sisi tunajua tu mzuri ya kwamba huyu bwana, hata kama hatujue hesabu Bernard, tunaangalia television. Tunaangalia ile hesabu ya television. Tunaangalia inasimama, mbona inasimama? Mbona inasimama hata kama ni mjinga? Mbona inasimama? Mbona taa imezima Bernard? Mbona umezima taa? Umeona Bernard? So wakati inji itakuwa inatumikia, serikali itakuwa inatumikia mwananchi, mwananchi atakuwa anasikia mzuri. Mwananchi ataheshimu sheria. Lakini kama wakubwa waheshimu sheria, wakubwa hao ndio wanatumia polisi kunyanyasa watu wadogo. Hata mtu akitoa maoni yake, Subaru imefika. Subaru ni ya nini? Hii wakati ya samani hatukuwa na Subaru, Bernard. Kwa sababu mtu ametamuka tu maneno kama Gladys Wanga. Gladys Wanga ametamuka utaona polisi kwake. Polisi kwake la amesema tu ukweli wa maneno. So, utataka kujua ya kwamba polisi wakienda huko, mbona wananchi wale wako mashindani chini wasichunge Wanga? Watasema ni mtu yetu, mbona mnataka kuvamia mtu wetu Bernard. Unaona? Kwa sababu polisi si watumishi kwa wote, ni watumishi kwa wakubwa. Wakati hiyo kirauni itabadilika, itakuwa watumishi kwa wote, itakuwa serikali wataenda kwa Wanga, hawa wataenda kwa mtu yule anakosoa serikali. That's why unaona mwananchi anachukua sheria kwa mkono yake Bernard. Hata wakati ya uchaguzi tunajua hii watu wengine washindangi uchaguzi. Hata wanasema hao ni wengi, lakini si wengi Bernard. Si wengi. Hii kura hii haisabili wengi kwa njia ile mzuri. Lakini tunasema namna hii. Wale wametawala nchi hii. Wafunge break. Pia wengine watawale Bernard. Pia wengine watawale. Labda wengine watatawala kama ule president, ule mwanajeshi ule wa Ruto na mlagani. Ule president wa huyo mwanajeshi alipindua inji Bernard. Na anaendesha inji ya Burkina Faso kwa ile njia mzuri. Na ni mwanajeshi alipindua. Lakini sasa hao wenye walichaguliwa, angalia huyu mwalipindua inji, anaendesha inji mzuri. Lakini hao wenye tunachagua, viongozi wale tunachagua, hakuna, ni burukenge tu, ni mikebe tupu Bernard. So tunashindwa. Inji itakuwa inapinduliwa, yani ipinduliwe ndio maendeleo ikuje. Inji ipinduliwe, mapinduzi ikue ndio maendeleo ikuje. Lakini bila inji kupinduliwa ni kunyanyasa watu, wananyanyasa watu Bernard. So tunasema namna hii Bernard. Hii inji ni kukosa heshima. Watu waheshimiane. Watu wakishaheshimiana, ujue huyu ni kabila ndogo, kabila kubwa, tukue pamoja nasema okay. Mwaka ingine tunaunga fulani mkono. Hapana wale wenye wametawala inji, kabila kidogo kisimama wanakemea. Wanakemea namna gani Bernard? Bernard, hii inji ni yetu wote. Hii ni inji yetu wote, hata kama ni nini Bernard. So unaona kama hiyo, mimi naona sasa, angalia Bernard. Nashindwa watu waluye wangu hawa. Sasa hii nimesoma kwa kaseti, sijui nimesoma wapi, ya kwamba sasa Mudavadi na nani na Atuoli sijui na nani na Weta wanataka kuweka Waluya pamoja. Walikuwa wapi Bernard? Hakuna vile Waluya wanawekwa pamoja. Sisi kama huko anatangaza anatembea pande hii, ninatembea pande hii ni Matiang'i. Hawa ndio sauti tunasikia. Tunasikia sauti ya Matiang'i pande hii, tunasikia sauti ya nani ya wanatembea pande hii. Hii watu wase wamekwisha katika siasa, wakae kando. Wakati Ruto tunapeleka nyumbani, tunapeleka na Wetangula na Mudavadi na Atuoli, yote tunapeleka nyumbani, wanafunga virago, sijui watamsindikiza wakienda Sugoi, wakienda Sabatia, sijui wakienda Bungoma. Kwanza watasindikiza kwanza Ruto, wamsindikize kwanza Sugoi, alafu hao wachukue njia ya Bungoma ya Kakamega mpaka Kuisero. Bernard, hii ndio watu wataka katika hii siasa. Sisi tunatambua Letembea na Matiang'i pande hii. Hao ndio tunaona ni macho yetu peke yake Bernard. Ni hiyo tu Bernard, wengine anaweza changia.
Asante Utumani, nashukuru.
Sasa on the negative side of what I'm seeing in Mwamunyoro, it's like a collection of the old politicians who are now trying to come back seeing an opportunity. That is a downside. But I also believe that the youth are clever enough not to bring back some of those characters or all of them, because it will not change anything in the country. It will not change anything. Our politicians are like poachers. They see opportunities that they want to exploit. And because sometimes the desperation of people leads to a point where they want to revenge, some people just sneak through leadership without accounting for what they did in the past. So I've seen today a lot of leaders who came before. They have been in parliament for years, some of them. They can't account for what they did that time, but because they see an opportunity, they now gravitate around Wamunyoro. And that now is not the right thing, especially for the youth who want to change the leadership of this country. Then the other thing is, when you look at it from a deeper sense, the Gen Z revolution, if not well catered for, could be frittered away. And I am sure the youths have a mind of what they want, the country they want to have. You cannot tell me that the generation of politicians of Kamanda, of Maore, of many others I saw around there, Kirwa, and others, they represent what these youths are really yearning to see in the country. Because truth be said, this country now belongs to youth who are from 18 to about 40. And they have their views, they have arrived ahead of them. They want to have children, they want to have families, they want to have jobs, and they have pretty good ideas how they would want to run the country. So I believe in due time, things will unravel. And this group, if they are not careful, they are going to find that there are other political forces around the youth, if they are not careful and organize to see how the youth get an opportunity, they will be left to be parties of the oldies. Well, there will be parties for the youth. That is the unfortunate thing. It's just thinking around and seeing what is happening. I'm just thinking around because the youth are about to ask, where are we in all this? In all this, Ruto must go. Where are we? And it will be a good thing, by the way. But also, let me also correct Oduvai. Communities don't rule. It is an individual who is given an opportunity to be the president. So here we are not just merely talking about communities. We are talking about finding the rightful leadership in any community in Kenya, big or small. That's what it is. That would be the best thing.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guru. We appreciate that, and I love your concern about the political class and their scavenging capability. But that said, this youth movement that we are so much kind of leaning on, in my opinion, it's neither here or there, in the sense that you can count on it as a constituency. Somebody sent me a clip, I think it was Who Innocent, about Wamshomba. Wherever wondering what's happening with the Gen Z now that they have turned their guns against each other, and it's like their fight is not a fight of correction. Their fight is a fight of extermination. Now, if that is the attitude and that is how they are going about it, how do we as millennials or Generation X and boomers count on them to hold this country together? Like I said, in the past, when people are found in the wrong, it was not eliminate. It was punish them. One, to serve as an example. Two, to give them opportunity to correct themselves. But it appears we have a generation here that it doesn't give people second chance. Today's Ruto's preacher was preaching on second chance. So if we are ready to like that, what will we have left?
That's why, Bernard, I told you, anybody thinking of that the youth will expend their energy to stand in line and vote for a candidate they want, and then you think you are going to circumvent that one somewhere in the boardroom, oh my God, I fear for this country. Those guys are restless and they don't give you a second chance. Utaona watu wana kwanza. Let me tell you, Bernard, I don't know how it is going to be, but you can imagine in an area, the youth are the majority. Yeah? They know how they voted because they normally communicate that we are going to vote for candidate so and so. And then the IBC officer is reading results that don't reflect the local dynamics of the voting in that area. This time I'm doubtful whether they will live with their life. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Bernard.
No, that's part of my concern. It's a good justification.
And this, okay, this is not a joke. I'm telling you.
No, I agree with you. I wanted to raise an issue on the same. I agree with you that we will not have business as usual, but don't forget the old prophet in the Bible. He's an old prophet in the Bible who knows how to persuade the young people to go and kill themselves and eliminate themselves instead of them eliminating the old prophet. So these people have been in this game for ages. This our youth have just come. So huwa nasema watu wengi ni waongo, lakini ukijaribu kwenda kumdanganya shetani, kumbuka kwamba shetani alianza uongo wake kwa Garden of Eden. So umeanza juzi na ulijifunza kwa shule yake. So hawezi kumdanganya successfully. And so I really would want a situation whereby the protection of the win, of the change of this country, not to be left on chance. Not to be left on chance. What Kivuta Kibwana was talking about, that the William Ruto is a last mile politician. If you're going to deal with him, you must have double last mile approach, whereby like the Azimio campaign team, they had concluded all visibility studies, they had done all the analysis, they knew this thing they are taking, but they didn't know what Chebukati and the team were cooking, only for them to be shocked at the 11th hour. Now they begin to run at Bomas, they are locked out of Bomas, they begin to call who, no, phone is not going through, and things like that. That aspect of leaving the elections outcome to chance, to what the youth may do, what the country may ban, or if this is done, this can never be done, and things like that. We need a more conclusive and, if possible, scientific solution to this problem, in that when we go to cast the vote is going to come out on the other side with a definite outcome. Not for us to say, if they do the stealing, the youth will do this. If they do the stealing, the police will do this. If they do the stealing, let's stop the stealing by making the stealing impossible to take place through the process of voting accurately. Not for us to say tutaenda protect sijui votes sijui wapi, at if that happens we go to the street. We've been on the street 2007, we're on the street 2013, on the street 2017 twice, on the street 2022. Street has not helped us. It has on the other hand killed us. It has made some of us to lose our lives, lose our relatives, our young people. So if we are still preparing to go and chase the outcome of the elections from the street, Mr. Guru, no. This time around, let's go sit for the ground, pass the exam, and not going to chase the results from somewhere.
Take it from me, Bernard. You know, me, when I tell you things, maybe sometimes you may not take them, but they come to pass. What I'm telling you right now, what has scared this regime is, one, the people of Mulima are not even interested in any of the two posts, and that they know. And that is most scary, because the arithmetic for the other guy does not work out. Okay? Number two, things are not going to be the same. The lamentations you are having here are being well catered for. I don't know whether, Bernard, you are aware that there will be dressing code, and the youth will be going to advance what they started in 2024 in the booths. So it's going to be something that you have never seen in Kenya. I'm telling you. And I woe unto the IBC if they think they are going to behave the same manner in which they did last time. You know, people build their character around what they have observed, the past experiences. And I don't know where you put this mythology that somebody has overwhelming powers to do what he wants. The only simple thing this man did was to go to Morima and confuse people, to give him overwhelming vote, and then and a few and some from his community, and the pockets from other parts of the country. That's all. That was the strategy. But now, one of the major blocks has evolved. So he's got to go now and lean on other people's support. Assuming today Baba says he is going to run or even his party will have a candidate. And then on the other side, we have a candidate. Where does he get people from? We are in this country, Bernard, and we know how people vote. We are ethnically tainted in voting patterns. So this is a man hanging between two blocks. One block, he had it in his hands, has bolted. He has jumped on the other one, another wagon belonging to somebody else. And that wagon can be withdrawn. How do you look at politics? How do you look at politics, Bernard? If today, like I hear, ODM is insisting they'll have a candidate, which is okay because that's a political party. And then on the other side, we say we have adopted a candidate like Matiang'i, our own, as Mlima. And that's where we will put our votes. Then ODM insists they'll have their candidate. Maybe it's Joho or whoever it is within the ranks of ODM. Where does that leave Kasongo? The Northeastern?
Yes, the Somalis Now, okay, hold on there. Thank you so much for that one, Mr. Guru. But like I said, I in fact, my really wisdom on the handling of these elections, at times I feel like let everybody be left to go.
Did you hear what Manda was saying?
Let everybody be left to go.
Did you hear what?
Your mic is noisy.
I'm saying, did you hear what Manda was saying? He's saying he is aware you are saying that the cow that you have given will be withdrawn. But he also told you, notice that you are dealing with a pastoralist. So I don't know what he meant by that. So you have, you cannot, I can see some people facing the heat. I can tell you that.
What he meant is not a pastoralist, but a cattle hustler. A cattle rustler. So when you withdraw, he will come for it at night. That's the message. So that's all I can read from that. Which in my opinion is neither here or there in terms of forcing a particular bloc to vote for a particular candidate. But what I want us to not ignore, and this is what I'm seeing with especially the Wamunyoro bus, okay, and the coalescing together of these people too early into one place. It's one, dangerous. Two, its outcome has been our historical whatever unmaking. Remember what we did with Moi. All through election period, the opposition was always gathering, meeting, taking tea, organizing on how to get rid of Moi. Okay, 92, 97, until Moi finished his 2 terms, okay, without being beaten, because we are always coalescing together and thinking that by coming together, we're going to scare them. Coming together, we're going to get this done. I would love a different approach altogether. And one of it is that let everybody who has presidential ambition be led to go to the ballot and let Kenyans decide. That is also going to help into ensuring that we will not have a slave president, a president that cannot be owned by Kenyans, but a president that is owned by Kenyans because he has been able to gather votes from all over the country, and Kenyans have ratified him to be in office. But if we make him a regional president, or a specific region person is the one that made him president, he will be under siege And one of the things that have made many of our competent presidents, if we have had such, not to function the way they ought to, is this aspect of, we made you president, you must give us this. We are the ones that made you president, you must give us this and that and that. So that liberty of the Kenyan people giving themselves the president, they'll be able to endure. But if a particular region is the one that gave us the president, ndio huwa tunawarudishia kila mara. Now, nataka tumsikilize Undumani kwanza, alafu tuone vile, na hata masaa ndio haya yanaendelea kukatika. Kama unakuja studio wai mapema, naomba tafadhali tujitahidi. Undumani, unasemaje mambo haya?
Mambo haya naona ni magumu. Ya kwanza kule kwa Mnyoro, sijui wapi kule, wale mi naona wale wenye walikuwa kule wame expire, wengine wame expire. It is expiring date yao imekuwa expired. So kama atafanya na expiring date kule, mi nimeona wakidanganoa Wekesa ako kule, baada anapigia Mudavadi debe, ati Mudavadi ndo anajua ati ndo kiongozi yao. Ndio, ni kiongozi ya wazee, sisi nataka kiongozi ya vijana. So ye kama anasema ni kiongozi, Mudavadi ni kiongozi yao, atabaki ni kiongozi yao ya wazee, kwa sababu wameungana pale, wameungana Mudavadi, wameungana pale Atuoli, na wameungana pale na Weta. Sasa hao ndio wataka kuweka Waluya pamoja. Hiyo wakati wamechelewa, imewapita, hiyo imewapita. Vile tumepata na tembe yako pale, akuja aweke wakinanga Sifuna wakinanga, huyu alikuwa former governor senator wa Kakamega, wakuwe pamoja. Hao ndio wanaweza kuweka Waluya pamoja, kwa sababu hao ndio damu bado moto. Sisi hatutataka damu baridi kuje weke sisi. Hakuna siku baridi itashikana Bernard, kwa sababu Biblia inasema kuna tofauti gani kati ya nuru na giza? Kuna mapatano gani kati ya nuru na giza? That's why ikasema na kwamba tokeni kati yao mkajitenge mbali nao. Hii wazee tuwatenge mbali nao wazee. Hao wazee hakuna kitu watatuletea. Hii ni wazee, hii grupu ya Kinanga Ruto, ya Kinanga nani, au ni wazee wa kwenda nyumbani. Ya pili, tulikuwa tunajua ya kwamba huyu bwana ni mtu mzuri, atatengeneza uchumi, atafanya kila kitu, wakampenda sana na wakampatia kura, hata kuangalia maneno ya ukabila wakampatia kura. Kumbe wanapatia kura Nyang'au. So tukiangalia Nyang'au hii na tuangalie Nyang'au ya Matiang'i, tukiangalia hata kama aliua watu akapeleka Nzoia Bernard, lakini tunaangalia uongozi yake katika elimu, katika wakati alikuwa waziri wa elimu, akakuwa waziri wa CS wa internal security. Tunaangalia hiyo, at least alifanya kazi. Lakini sasa tunaangalia mwenye yako saa hii Bernard, wakati alikuwa waziri wa agriculture, mahindi ilipotea, mbolea ilipotea, kila kitu ilipotea. Sasa tunaweza kumlinganisha huyo na Matiang'i kivipi? Unaona, wote ni wauaji, tunajua wote ni wauaji, lakini tunachukua huyo muuaji huyu na tunasema huyo muuaji tunaweka waratili. Muuaji gani ndio mzuri Bernard? Tunaangalia hapo Bernard. So tunataka namna hii 2027, vile ndugu yangu amesema, vijana ndio wataamua kiongozi wao. Hatutachukua mzee, wazee sasa waende nyumbani. Hii ndio nilisema, hii wakati ya Ruto hawa, hii watu wote wanatoka barabara moja Bernard. Wakitoka Nairobi ni barabara moja kwenda Western. Hii watu alitwanga Atuoli, alitwanga Mudavadi, alitwanga Weta. Hao na huyu mwenye alipigwa na kiatu Bernard. Hao wote wanatoka barabara moja. Na hiyo barabara moja wakitoka Nairobi wasitoke na ndege, wakuje tu na gari. Watasindikiza huyo aingie Sugoi, baada ya kuingia Sugoi wapite waingilie Kaburengo. Unaona Bernard? Hiyo ni mapu na wachorea. Wasipitie Kericho. Wasipitie Kericho, ni mbali. Hao wote wachukue gari wote, wakuje wapite total, wakuje waingie Ban Forest, watoke Ban Forest Eldoret. Hapo Eldoret wanaweza kunywa chai kidogo. Alafu watoke pale wamsindikize mwenzao mpaka Sugoi. Wakifika Sugoi hapo Tarobo hapo waleza nunua hapo mahindi choma wakikula wakiendelea na safari. Alafu wafike hapo Kibukarani wapande Kaburengo. Sasa Kaburengo pale Wetangula aleza enda Bungoma, Mudavadi na watu wale wanachukulia njia ya Kaburengo Kakamega wakiendaga Belad. Unaona? So tunataka mtu kama Natembea sasa ndiye anaweza kuweka Waluya pamoja na tuongee na sauti moja katika Western Province. Na pande hiyo Matiang'i achukue vijana wote aweka pamoja. Lakini wale walienda kwa Mnyoro huko, wale wali expire. Labda wapeleke tu mambo ingine kule labda wapanguse viketi na kutandika vitambaa. Lakini hao wame expire Bernard. Hao wame expire. Wa Mnyoro achukue damu.
So, thank you Dumani, shikilia hapo tunarejea.
Asante.
Hili swala la wazee na vijana litaleta kizaazaa kwa nchi hii, lakini naomba tu tujitahidi. Kile ambayo sipendi na sitaki ni kurudia makosa na kucheza na uongozi wa nchi. Nataka tuheshimu uongozi wa nchi na tupeane uongozi wa nchi kwa wale watu wanafaa, sio kwa wale watu walioko. Wale watu wanafaa. So let's get the best. I don't think Kenya is short of leaders. We don't need to recycle leaders. So naomba we take a short break, not a break in the sense of a break. Ngoja kwanza kidogo. Your mic is problematic.
I'm leaving.
You are leaving?
Yes, I want to leave.
Video tunacheza ni ya kwako, unapaswa kufafanulia. Tunamaliza pamoja in the next 10 or so minutes. I don't think we'll stretch beyond there unless otherwise. Let's hear this out and judge.
Kazi zingine because me I can't afford that. Na sitaki kurudi kwa Sara Seremu SRC kumwambia aongeze mshahara kwa sababu akiwaongezea wajumbe watataka kuongezewa na kila mtu atataka kuongezewa. So sit down, let us serve our country with commitment. Alaba kutuambia kitu moja. Finally, before you leave, let me tell you one thing. Kuna watu ambao walipigania uhuru wa nchi hii. Some of them are not alive. Their bones are in the graves of this country somewhere. Watu nani anawalipa madola? Na wao ndio walitufanya sisi tukapata uhuru. So from there we were challenged that for our country to move forward, wananchi lazima tujitolee sisi wote. And if the sacrifices we are going to make, some of us, is to either defer ambitions or find a way of working with each other, it is worth it and we will do it so that we move our country forward. Na nyinyi wenyewe pia, tafadhali wananchi, tukianza kuzungumza vile tunazungumza, muzingiwe na hizi porocho za huku kuambiwa huyu ameenda hivi, huyu anafanya hivi namna hii. Tuko tayari. Kazi ya kuongoza nchi na kazi ya kuendesha nchi sio kazi ngumu. Watu wengine walikuwa wananiuliza eti wewe tunataka urudi kwa public life. Are you serious? Nikasema there is no time in my life I've never been serious. Because wakati nilikuwa Minister for Education, mimi kazi sio shida kwangu, na kwanza kazi ikitajwa mimi nachangamka sana. Nilikuwa hapa nafungua container ya mtihani saa 9 usiku. Napiga shule 15 hapa, naanzia Mudwaine kule Bishop Katimu Ngandu Girls, naenda kumalizia pande ile ya Nyeri huko juu. And I was all over the place. The following day I would be in Kambiamoto, opening containers at 3 a.m. in the morning, kupigana na wakora wa kusumbua watoto wetu kwa shule. Sasa mimi niko tayari kupigana na watu kama hao, ndio kazi yangu. Mimi niko tayari. Na unajua hiyo kazi nyinyi wananchi ndio mnatoa hiyo kazi. Nyinyi ndio mko na kadi ya kura, nyinyi ndio mko na kipande, nyinyi ndio mtaamuka asubuhi muamue ni nani mnapea hiyo kazi. Sisi wakati ukifika, ninawaahidi mkitupea hiyo kazi mtaona vile nchi itaenda. Because we need to clean our country, we need to restore the faith of government, so that people can trust the government again. That serikali ikikwambia kitu, kiongozi wa serikali akikwambia kitu, you can go to sleep and trust what they are telling you. Sio eti mnaambiwa hii tunacheza na wananchi vile tunacheza hivi. Ya mwisho, wananchi nataka kuwaomba hivi. Na mimi namshukuru Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua na Mama Dorcas kwa kutualika. This is very important to me. Wananchi, when there is a problem in a country like we have now, challenges of various kinds, you will be tempted very easily. Kwanza sasa, you know, with the frustrations we have, disappointments, unfulfilled promises, hata viongozi wengine wanaweza kuanza sasa kutukawanya sisi wenyewe. Tuanze kupigana. Hiyo maneno mnasikia tunaambiwa 841 versus I don't know what. Hiyo yote ni style ya kufanya sisi tuanze kupigana. Tusahau shida zetu, badala ya kutumia wakati wetu kutafuta suluhisho kwa hayo maneno yote, tuanze sasa kupigana sisi wenyewe. Watu wanapiga nduru hapa Nyeri wako na shida. Kule Nyamira wako na shida. Kule Taita Taveta wako na shida. Kule Kakamega wako na shida. Sasa ukabila unatusaidia nini? Sisi sote tuko na shida. Basi tunatafuta namna ya kutafuta suluhisho so that our country can be managed better. Na tuko tayari kufanya hiyo kazi. Kwa hivyo ninawaomba wananchi, msipoteze imani. Don't lose hope in our country. What we are going through is a momentary situation. And let us not be tempted to turn against each other. Mungu atatubariki. We have had some challenges before, but we always rise again. This country is built on resilience. Wakenya ni watu wa kufanya bidii. Wakenya ni watu wanajua vile tunataka kwenda mbele. Don't lose hope. Tukae pamoja, tushikane. Na hao ndugu zetu hapa na dada, tushikane pamoja. Mungu atatusaidia, tutafuka hiyo daraja. Na tukivuka hiyo daraja tutaenda mbele. We will fix our challenges. Hizi zote tutatengeneza. So that we fix our education system properly, so that watu wawe na imani kwa elimu yetu. We fix our systems. Hata kama ni mambo ya afya, we will find solutions to our challenges together. So that huu muda kidogo tuko na shida hapa na pale, let us not turn against each other. Hii vile tunaambiwa hii maneno ni kabila hii, ni hawa ndio wanataka kuleta shida, ni kabila hii inataka kuleta shida. Hakuna kabila inataka kuleta shida dunia hii. Makabila ni mawili. Wale sisi ambao tunataka maendeleo kwenda mbele, na kabila ingine ya wale ambao hawataki maendeleo wanatusumbua. Na mimi nafikiri sisi sote tuko kwa kabila moja, ile ambayo inataka tuendelee mbele vizuri. Ama namna gani? Mungu na awabariki wananchi, and God bless you.
Undumani, maoni yako?
Bernard, hiyo speech ni mzuri kwa watu. So unaona kabila ndogo Bernard, wakipewa hiyo opportunity, hata kama ni Turkana, hata kama ni Mteso, umeona hiyo speech hiyo ya kabila ndogo. So hiyo kabila ndogo ndo tuko na imani na kabila ndogo. Kabila kubwa wakae kando kwanza, tupatie break. Kwa sababu since 1963 walikuwa kwa madaraka na hakuna kitu tumepata. Mimi nilikuwa kwa shule wanasema viongozi wa kesho, sijaona ya kesho Bernard. Hakuna ya kesho. Labda ya kesho tunaweza kupata kwa kabila ndogo. Lakini kwa kabila kubwa viongozi wa kesho hakuna kwa kabila kubwa. Viongozi wa kesho wako kwa kabila ndogo. Ikiwa Mteso, ikiwa ikiwa Kisii, ikiwa Turkana, hao ndo wako viongozi wa kesho. Lakini kwa saa hii hakuna viongozi wa kesho. So tumtumainie huyo Matiang'i tunamtumainia, kama alifix education pia atafix hii serikali. Si kama mwingine alishindwa agriculture akakula mahindi yote. Si atakula inji yote. Alikula mahindi yote akakula mahindi na inchi yote. So tunataka huyu mwenye alifix education na akafix maneno ya internal security, huyo ndio tunataka. Biblia inasema kama uwezi kutosheka na ile kidogo ile uko na ile kidogo ile iko, utatoshekaje na kubwa? Hata wakikupatia kubwa utamanage kubwa? Hauwezi. Sasa kama hii kidogo ilimshinda, hii agriculture ilimshinda, so serikali kubwa hii ataweza namna gani Bernard? Ameshindwa. Kama ameshindwa, apaki virago yake hata kabla ya kura, ajiuzuru, awachie Matiang'i kiti. Ajiuzuru, Matiang'i amalizie, yaende nyumbani Bernard. In good faith. lakini asipotoka kwa njia ile mzuri Bernard, basi atatoka kwa njia ya aibu. Sisi wa Kenya tutanyorosha kura yetu, na kura yetu wahesabu mzuri Bernard, wahesabu mzuri Bernard. Naomba tu wahesabu mzuri, commissioner yule atachaguliwa ahesabu mzuri. Pia yule mwingine pia nani huko natembea ajitokeze, mwingine ajitokeze, mwingine wajitokeze, ili tuchague yule tunaweza kuchagua. Tumeona Matiang'i, sasa tumeona natembea pia atangaze, mwingine atangaze. Tunataka vijana, pana wase, na tutaki vijana wale wakora. Unajua kuna wale vijana wakora ni mtoto yako ndio ni kijana, lakini unajua kijana ni mzuri, huyu ni mkora. So tunajua yule mkora, na tunajua ni ule muizi. Tunajua huyu ni muizi, huyu ni mkora, huyu ni muuaji kidogo, lakini huyu muuaji atatuua sana. Lakini huyu anaweza kutuua sana. Huyu muuaji atatuua sana, lakini huyu atatuua sana Bernard. So mimi napongeza Matiang'i kwa vile hiyo njia ameenda. Mimi naunga mkono. Mimi niko katika Busia County na nyumbani Kakamega County, na nimenunua shamba Bungoma County. Hizo county zote zina sauti Bernard. Tusonge mbele, tuunge Matiang'i mkono. Hivi vijana wetu akina Mudavadi, wakina Ngaweta, wakina Ngaia anaitwanga nani? Huyu ya trade union huyu anaitwa nani? Huyu Atuoli, wakae nyumbani, waunge wengine mkono. Asante Bernard.
Okay, thank you Ndumani. Guru. Mr. Guru, your mic is off. Your mic is off. Unmute.
Your message, it was very, very clear, and I'm pleased that Matiang'i seems to get lessons on communication, because if you listen to that message very well, it is capitalizing on the weaknesses of the current regime. Number one, that it's a regime that does not listen, it's incompetent, and that things can be different. Then the other thing is giving people hope, because actually, Bernard, if you are a politician and you don't inspire hope, then you don't go far. And hope is not just making promises like what Kasongo did. It's inspiring hope. Don't lose hope. There can be a better way of doing things. Tomorrow can be better. And this is unfortunately what our neighbor and very bright diplomat, Kalonzo, lacks. He doesn't seem to have a pattern of speech that gives hope. And the body language and the, that emphasis, like the one you have seen in Matiang'i, you can see a deep conviction through the way he expresses himself. It makes people know that he's serious about what he's talking about. He's not merely praying to the platitudes of the public. So that is what will make Matiang'i bypass Kalonzo, who had a head start. Unfortunately, I think right now he's taking a back seat. I don't know whether I can go and look at that video again on Duvai and Bernard, and look at the face of Kalonzo Musyoka. I don't want to talk much. There is water in the sea fund, but just look at his face. Don't even look at anything else. You see what I mean. It's like you are a runner, a marathon runner, and then you have been running some 200 meters ahead of your next opponent, and then in the last lap, he crosses in in that race, and you can obviously not feel comfortable. I think I saw a face of discomfort. I don't know, maybe I may be wrong, but that's what I saw. Then listen again to the speech that Kalonzo himself made, and then you can compare with Matiang'i. They are worlds apart. And those people who know psychology, they know who can convince better among the two. So our friend and neighbor, our cousin, Kalonzo Musyoka, may again miss the bus. He's missed the bus several times. And this time alitemwa na ODM ambao amewashikilia miaka hiyo yote. Sasa pale alikuwa amening'inia wa Munyoro, sasa inaanza kuyeyuka pia. Somebody was saying they will not be surprised him running to Kasongo. Somebody says so. Knowing our politicians the way they are, don't be surprised. It can happen. After seeing that he's got nowhere else to hold. And I think he's had a long partnership with ODM and Raila Odinga. And maybe you never know. He might just be invited by his elder brother to the other side as we head towards 2022. You never know. But anyway, we waited to see what unfold.
Okay, it's also Mr. Guru. Thank you for that. And I think, in my opinion, it is too early to conclude that the politician is going to sleep where he is right now. Right now, kitanda hakijulikani. Usingizi inaweza kuwa ipo, lakini kitanda hakijulikani. Mpaka masaa fulani ndio tutajua huyu amelalia huku, huyu amelalia huku. Saa hii ni testing the waters. That includes Kalonzo, but you know Kalonzo as a politician, he has not run for anything. In my understanding, is either anapita katikati ama anangoja kuachiwa. That's how he has operated all along. So I'm surprised that you people are not, able to tell that that's how he has been doing his politics all along. Either achiwe ama apite wapi katikati. Tena hiyo kupita katikati ni kushikiliwa. Like what you were saying the other day, ati alilazimishwa na wazee kwenda kujoin Azimio. Yani alichelewa kuamua mpaka wazee wakabeba yeye juu kwa juu, wakapeleka yeye. So he's undecided most of the time, and not only that, he's I think he wants to have the position but not take the responsibility of getting the position. Anataka watu wengine wasponsor the campaign, lakini yeye akue frontliner. And when you cannot shoulder the responsibility, you forfeit the office as well. And so what Kalonzo is suffering is normal, and I don't think it's not even Kutema na ODM, because ODM has not sent away Kalonzo. I don't have any information to that effect. And Kutema ni kama, is it about endorsement? If that endorsement is the same thing we are talking about. Ameacha kwa mataa na nani? Things are
na baba. Hajui kwa kuenda.
No, don't write off Kalonzo, by the way. It's a good, your mind is problematic with mine. It's not now, don't write off Kalonzo. That's why I'm saying it's too early in the day to write off anybody. And then also when the competition is too high, especially in that bus, ya Munyoro, we will have some things that are unlikely. So let's watch out, and I pray that we will have what is called sanity in our politics. I don't want any one of us to underestimate what we are up against and the limits and wherever the extent at which this hardly surviving administration can go to preserve itself. Don't forget they have the options of messing the constitution by creating a constitution crisis. They have the options of eliminating key challengers. By the way, Mr. Guru, have you ever had any conclusive investigations on what happened in the Kibaki accident just before the elections? I don't have any information. I don't think that information is anywhere. And so when a candidate becomes challenging and promising early in the day, like Matiang'i and all that, they become targets. And when we are dealing with a shrewd kind of administration, that's when great care needs to be done. And so I really believe that we may just have a surprise candidate, not these obvious candidates. There could just arise a surprise candidate that is going to make things happen. And so let's leave the room open. Now, nataka tufanye housekeeping, alafu tuanze kufungasha. Housekeeping ni hii. We are paying bills. Please, we need your support to keep running the show. And of course, don't forget that tuko na mtoto ambaye tunashughulikia, ambaye ni jukumu letu for the next, we have now been on this for 4 months, I think so. We need to go further than that, paying the rent and upkeep. Tunahitaji msaada wa kila mmoja wenu ili tuendeleze hii kazi vizuri. Our bills here, especially the power bill, is very, very taxing. To get these lights working, to keep this place lit up, it is not ordinary bulb ambayo, inachukua token kidogo. Token zetu ni za juu. So we need your help to keep running the show and of course sustain everything else. So tumia hiyo details ziko kwa screen right now. Till number, that's Safaricom till number 516575. Tuma mchango wako of any amount will make a difference. Or if you don't want to use the till number, you use the +25471845458 and the name is Bernard Makoha, just as it is on the screen. Wale ambao mnatumia screen ndogo mnaweza kuwa na shida ya kusoma. That is why I'm reading for you. But the Safaricom till number is 516575, Sound Candy Talk, or +25471845458. Bernard is the name. Tafadhali naomba tujitahidi katika kusupport channel. You know that we are, not optimum like we used to be, but those of us that live and remain, like the Bible says, will be caught up in the air. So sisi ndio wa kwanza. So let's keep focused and do what we're required to do. And then of course there is the tall order of ensuring that we do the right thing. Na kama kuna kazi inahitajika hapa Kenya, ni wa Kenya kueleweshwa. Na hiyo ndio mojawapo ya kazi yetu hapa kama Sound Candy Talk. Hatutaki kuchanganya wa Kenya na hatutaki kuwapatia information isiyofaa. So we just want to be engaging and help educate Kenyans, especially on political responsibility and what they need to do. So if you can support us, please do. Wale ambao mlijitolea kusimama na Frank please hiyo bill iko overdue, so jitokezeni mapema tukahakikishe kwamba hakuna kulemewa. Asante. Back to ilo swala la Kalonzo, alafu na swala la ODM. Kuna vile ambavyo haya mauaji ya huyu mbunge inasemekana ndio inaonekana italeta imepasua mbarika katikati ya UDA na ODM, and the center may not hold over this maneno. So some of the undertones that we are hearing and the fights are not to be ignored anymore, and that's why I'm saying the political situation may just turn, and when it turns, it may have serious changes within the framework of who is who. Morara naye anasema Kalonzo analalanga State House akiamkia kwa Munyoro. So hii mambo yote tujachanganya, lakini tukimaliza tutajua nani alilala wapi na alifanya nini huko kula alilala. Yes, so I think Mr. Guru, you have something to say on that, and then we begin to close.
Yeah, it is still very early to make any conclusion on those matters, because you know our politicians are funny animals, human beings, and it's only that it's not talked very strongly, but the undertones, even within that grouping that was in Munyoro, that the people seem to lean on the side of Matiang'i, especially in Mulima, but Kalonzo is insisting he is a senior politician. Is much senior than Matiang'i. Where that will take us in terms of negotiation on who takes the flag ticket is something we wait to see. Nevertheless, I think I can hazard a guess. If it is Kalonzo who will carry the flag, I fear that there will be fewer who will turn up to vote. And that's now another problem. I don't know about other communities. I'm just talking about what I perceive to be the situation in Mulima. Matiang'i is increasingly getting support. I don't know whether it is because of the Uhuru political cells, because he has very deep ones. But that is the reality, and that's the way it is. And he's also a bit more inspiring. He looks fresh. He's performed in situations that he has been given much more visibly than Kalonzo Musyoka. There is also the feeling that Kalonzo can turn around just after elections and embrace Kaongo, which now the people of Mountain wouldn't want. So, you know, they are Kanu orphans of President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. So they know each other very well, and therefore they can easily have a marriage. So that's the way it is. Yeah, I pity his position because, you know, let me tell you, Bernard, there is nothing as bad as clinging to a man, for a lady clinging to a man for several years. Anatemwa, alafu anaenda kwa, anarundi kwa ex, who now is not very sure what to do with that person. Kalonzo has rightfully or wrongly been I don't know. You say that he's a katikati man, but the feeling is that ODM should pay back. They should pay his political debt. They have he's carried them with about 1 million votes, or so thereabouts, more than 1 million votes for 3 consecutive elections, and it's no, Bernard, we paid our debts.
Where did the 1 million take us? No, just a moment. We'll lose the 1 million point. Just mute your mic kidogo. Mute your mic. Kama tukuingia Kanaan, bado tuko kwa jangwani, tujitahidi vile tutaishi. Tungeingia Kanaan, alafu tumteme basi. But let's look at this. Guru, just hold on. My point is the nini. Just mute your mic yako ina fight yangu. Mute your mic kwanza. Okay, thank you. Now my point is the Mulima, the way you are talking about Mulima. It appears to me that there is more passion and more drive in punishing William Ruto than electing a leader for the country. And this is not new for the Mulima. Okay? I would want and pray that Mulima needs to have a different motivation of getting Kenya a competent president other than using elections to settle scores.
That's okay.
Yes. If we continue.
That's okay, Bernard. But you know, Baba was invited to Amunyoro and he declined. He was told, come, we make you. Yeah, mekata. So what option do we have other than to look for a candidate from your backyard and say, this is it?
That's not my point. That's not my point. And the invitation by Wamunyoro. Oh, wewe bwana Guru, nikuulize tu swali. Wewe unapita hapo nje, okay? Kwangu mimi nimetandika, I have a very good scenery here, okay? Nimetandika, kuna meza, niko chakula na nini, niko tayari na feast, alright? Alafu uko kuna jamaa mwingine anaingia mstudi, ataenda kuwinda, ashike, achinje, ndio apike. Alafu unaaliko, utaenda wapi? Utaenda kule, chakula iko ready, ama utaenda kujoin huyu, muende kuwinda, mshike, mchinje, mtoe ngozi, mpike. So what I'm simply saying is, I think Baba's options were, I think one, Baba is tired. And I understand, and I believe every Kenyan should understand. He's tired, and him being tired and being elderly, you expect too much from him. I don't think he has that time for that stress anymore. I think I'm also aging. There are things I used to tolerate, and people I used to believe in, and I would sacrifice anything because I believe this will change and they will become better people. But these days, my patience are running out because I'm not going to preach this over and over again. So I give you a chance. The second one, I don't want your stress. So kuna ile hali ya Mlima kutumia kura kulipiza kisasi. Hiyo ndio mimi nataka muiondoe. Sisi tuende kuchagua rais wa Kenya. sio kutumia urais kuchapana. In the process, we end up having a wrong candidate, having a wrong president. And in the process, what happens? The country continues to suffer. So, mimi napenda kura za Mlima. Ni nyingi ndio. Lakini situmike kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Na njia inayofaa ni zitupatie rais anayefaa. Sio lazima tupate candidate ambaye atatumalizia Ruto. Ruto lazima amalizwe ndio, lakini the priority is not to remove Ruto. The priority is to get Kenya a competent president like Traore in Burkina Faso, okay, who is doing miracles. I was given, kuna list hapa nilipewa what Traore has done in 2 years. So nikapatia kijana yangu Shadizo anitafutie compare. He has done 12 things, okay? Ambia naye anitafutie za songo tutengeneze hiyo ledger. Ikamshinda. Akasema ametafuta mpaka ameuliza ChatGPT what Ruto has done. ChatGPT doesn't know what Ruto has done. And so we are still looking on how to use that information on what Traore has done in 2 years and find at least 3 things that can respond to that from Kasongo's performance. And so what I really want you kama mzee wa Mlima na wazee wengine, tuanze kuhubiri injili tofauti. Tusitumie ati hasira ya watu wa Mlima ndio mafuta ya pekee ya petrol ya kutumia kwenda kusettle masuala ya kura. Tuanze kuambia kuna sababu zingine tofauti watu wanatokanga asubuhi kwenda kupiga kura, sio kuchapa wengine.
I think that is being settled. I think Matiang'i, of all those who have shown interest, and those people they have observed in public service, I think he comes first. Unfortunately, some people may not agree with it, but that's what it is. We don't know whether it will be Stephen or Matiang'i, but people, the general public is talking about Matiang'i. As to boardroom, whatever, I don't know how it will play out. But in terms of the street and the farm, Matiang'i ranks quite highly. That's the way it is.
That is true, but you heard Matiang'i saying he doesn't mind deferring his ambition. Oh, I know that is state in a stagecraft, saying what should be said, even when you don't need it.
Did you hear Kalonzo say that? Did you hear such a
thing? Kalonzo said nothing. I have the complete video. I watched Matiang'i's speech, I watched Kalonzo's speech, I watched Matakarua's. Kalonzo did not say anything. Just a moment. You know, your mic has an issue. When mine is on and yours is on, no communication.
What I'm saying is that if sometimes what is not spoken is a spoken word. I don't think Kalonzo has any option of giving anybody a space. Unfortunately for him, he's in a limbo because if he is not supported by ODM and Mlima does also not support him, you just run and get his usual maximum of 800,000 votes. That's all.
I think from what I can see, ODM doesn't have any plan of not running for these elections, and I think they are banking on either forcing a rerun or teaming up at the 11th hour with a winning team. And that, in my opinion, is part of the surprise moves that they intend to cause. And when that happens, you know, there are those who will leave early because their options are badly destroyed. And then that's why I'm talking about a surprise candidate, a compromised surprise candidate. But if the discussions is between Martha Karua, Matiang'i, Kalonzo, like that, we may just end up with the 92 situation. You remember the 92 situation, the 97 situation, where the opposition refused to agree and everybody ran. And everybody ran. And unfortunately, then there was not the 50+1. So whoever got slightly higher ended up being president. And so, in my opinion, the really leader that is going to mount up a strong challenge to William Ruto, as it may be, will come not from the boardroom, not from this agreement among the people, among the key leaders. It is going to be a people-made, people-forced. Ile inakuanga ya baba ameenda kuuliza kama aendelee asiendelee. I don't think the Kenyans are ready to settle for any decisions that was made without them.
And who is that?
Sorry?
Who is that candidate?
Right now, I'm telling you that it's too early. What I'm saying is the usual political boardroom agreement that come out with an announcement and the whole country goes for that announcement, that style is gone. It's no longer going to work. So the people are the ones going to, like we go for nomination and we nominate so and so as a party candidate. So it is the Kenyan people that will decide who is on the ballot. And even if somebody forces himself to go to the ballot, the Kenyans will still express themselves and say, we told you not to, and we are going to confirm you are not the one. So the paradigm shift is such that if Kenyans are talking Matiang'i and you bring Maraga or you bring Sifuna or you bring another person, it's going to be a tall order to convince. And one of the things that has gone wrong is on how, what Matiang'i was talking about, how politicians cannot be trusted. You get that? So, like, for example, take, for instance, Maraga. Maraga and ODM produces Sifuna, and then Maraga comes in as a presidential candidate, and they are presented by Baba. Okay? Maraga has no question mark, Sifuna has no question mark, but they will say, what is Baba's interest in this? So the Kenyans will run away simply because he is not their candidate. He's Baba's candidate. You get that? So the really issue going on in the name of Wamunyoro wamekubali kwamba ni fulani na hii, hiyo decision ya hiyo meza haifanyi kazi kwa Kenya sahi. Wakenya wanataka kama ni candidate awe wao from the grassroots to the top, so that nobody's going to deceive them in between. And that's why you're talking about them taking charge of IEBC. Hiyo maswala tulikuwa tunangoja IEBC iseme, tunataka kuona kila IEBC inafanyaje na imeweka nini pamoja ndio ikatokea kwa hivi. And that whatever awakening is a positive move for the country, and that's why we need to fund it. But what I would not want it to be is for it to be done out of anger, because when it's done out of anger, good judgment is lost. Then we may end up not doing what we're required to do. But I love what's happening. Let Kenyans voice out who they want.
Funny enough, there is no meeting of leaders anywhere in mountain that said it is so and so. It's especially that I'm telling you about the two candidates which I also told you long time ago, almost 3-4 months ago, that there are two candidates. There is Kalonzo, there is Matiang'i. So it seems there's a conversation that has been going on in the community comparing the two, and for whatever reason, Matiang'i seems to be running away with the victory. And that's why I'm saying there could even be a backlash if they hear that it is Kalonzo in mountain, because already the internalization is that this candidate is better than this other one, you know. So it's going to be a bit difficult also for this organization to agree, because if that comes to it, Kalonzo may feel frightened again, like happened with ODM, and you never know how he's going to behave politically, because ni kama msichana amekataliwa na huyu mzee anaenda kwa mwingine amekataliwa. It's a very depressing affair, you know it, Bernard.
Yeah, I agree, but Kalonzo at the moment, okay, I would also want to say that the Mulima vote is delicate. I would say that is delicate, and whoever that is counting on, it's very difficult to tell. I'm talking of in comparison to 2022, okay, and the previous elections. In these particular elections, the mountain vote is very delicate, meaning even those dancing with Wamunyoro, they are counting for him, okay, in terms of, in case he makes a wrong political move, they will leave him, okay, and then if in case he makes a wrong mini, they will leave him. And so it is such that you are in a very insecure relationship, ambako mama ashakwambia ukisalimia hivi mwanadada utakuta unajua si wachungaji tunasikia maneno mengi sana. Kuna dada aliambia ndugu ukirudi unikute kwa hii nyumba, unione kwa hii nyumba, basi una macho. So there are those strange threats about if, like for example, William Ruto wants to reconcile with Wamunyoro, okay? Waende kulipata yake. What will happen with the mountain?
Ataenda peke yake.
Ataenda peke yake, lakini kuna video, time imeenda, lakini kuna video moja ilikuwa nicheze, lakini haina time. Kijana mmoja anasema kuhusu makosa ya Ruto isipokuwa kumtoa Gachagua. Ruto hajakosea Mlima. Na kama kutakuwa na options ambayo si pro Mlima inaweza kuchagua Ruto.
That one I can assure you 100%, Bernard. We don't go back. We don't back. No. We are a community that moves forward. We left that station a long time ago, and that's a situation that Uhuru found himself in. He thought he would come the last minute to convince people. People left a long time ago, even before Gachagua left in government. That's why you could hear kufa Makanga kufa. Yeye ndiye amekuja kujoin watu.
So I think I want us to call it a day there. It's almost 3 a.m. East African time. Na lazima tufungashe, lakini mabibi na mabwana, ningependa kuwashukuru sana kwa kuwa sehemu ya mazungumzo yetu siku ya leo. Kwa mengi ambayo tumesema, mengi ambayo umejifunza. Tunakuomba tu kuwa ambassador wetu mahala pote ulipo, na uhakikishe kwamba unaendelea kushare video ili watu wakajifunze kwa yale ambayo tumeyazungumza. Namshukuru PS wetu Tuni Mahmud, Press J, asante sana kwa kuwa active leo. Wache kujificha, hizi siku zingine huwa unazama kabisa. Alafu nani huyu, of course Undumani amezungumza moyo wake wote wazi wazi bila kuficha. Hilary Rono, asante sana kwa kuwa sehemu ya mazungumzo ya leo. Of course tulikuwa na Dahi Abdi, kuna Talia Bless, thank you so much. Naomba tafadhali tujitahidi katika ku support channel. Hakikisha kwamba uko sehemu, be part of what makes things happen. Don't just be there to witness things happening. Shouldering the responsibility of the running of the programs is important. If you learn anything from what you hear, or this program ministers to you in one way or another, respond by supporting it, so that we don't get into dates as we continue to bring you what needs to be discussed with every passing day. So kuna mambo mengi ya kusema, lakini muda ndio mchache. Just as a reminder, the details are there. Please let me get some notifications kwamba tunalipa bills. Kumbuka ni tarehe 5. Kuna masuala ya kulipa rent, kuna kununua tokens na hiyo masuala mengine tunawategemea. As much as we are growing slowly by slowly, we still need your support. So usilege. And then of course we should not forget Frank. Na mimi niliwaomba, mimi ndio nilienda kutafuta Frank, nikamlete hapa na tukakubaliana kwamba tutamsupport, tusimwache kwa mataa wakati tumeweka paa juu ya kichwa chake, and give him a better landing. So please, that is my number one responsibility. Hata kama tutakosa kufanya show kwa sababu kuna giza, nataka Frank awe salama, asigongewe mlango ama asikose chakula, kwa sababu tumewajibika katika kuhakikisha hivyo wakati anajitahidi kujisatiti kujisimamia. So naomba tafadhali, let's do the necessary. Otherwise, I want to really thank you as I look forward to meeting you again in the next program. Keep it at Sound Candy Talk and help us get more people to follow us. Kama unatupata kwa TikTok, ambia watu wa follow Sound Candy Talk. Hapa ndio tunachambua siasa usiku wote wa masaa kama haya. And then of course pia YouTube tunaitwa hiyo Sound Candy Talk ama Sound Candy Talk Live. We have 2 channels on YouTube, and then Facebook tunaitwa Sound Candy Talk page. Tafadhali utufuate na uhakikishe kwamba unafuata vipindi vingine. Hiki ni kimoja wapo tu ya vipindi tunafanya. Kuna zingine za mchana, na then tunauletea live events kama ile imekuwa Migori, na ile imekuwa sehemu tofauti. Ya leo tumeleta ya Rigji, ya Kiture Kindiki. We live stream those key or wherever events. So ukiwa subscriber ama follower wa Sound Candy Talk, hakuna jambo litakupita. Hata kabla wanahabari wa break down those stories to tell you in news, we bring you the live story as it happens. And so there are more benefits of being a subscriber of Sound Candy Talk, because hautapitwa na lolote. Cha muhimu, tumakinike katika kuelimisha kila Mkenya na kuwajibika katika kuchagua viongozi ambao wanafaa. Hadi wakati mwingine, naomba tukafungie hapo. Mungu awabariki, tukutane tutakapokutana.
Sound Candy Talk Live News.